From the Grand Ballroom at Montage in Sydney, Australia, it's the 24th Ethnic Business Awards, brought to you by founding partners, the National Australia Bank and the Ethnic Business Awards organisation. We begin with the Welcome to Country from Gumaroy Newman.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can we all say Yama? Yama is only one of 600 totally different ways to say hello in the Aboriginal languages of Australia. I'm a very proud Gamilaroi and Waka Waka man from northwestern parts of New South Wales and southwest Queensland. I would like to acknowledge a very simple fact. Right now we are sitting, wining, dining and celebrating the 2012 Ethnic Business Awards on the land of the Gadigal people of the Greater Eora Nation. Could we have a round of applause for these beautiful custodians, please? Now, the Eora Nation is made up of 29 clans. They're bounded by 3 very mighty rivers. You've got the Hawkesbury up in the north. Out to the west, you've got the Nepean River. Down south, you've got the Georges River. Inside this Eora Nation, 29 very important clans. Now, our culture is all about acknowledgement. Nothing in this life is ever ours to own and keep. So I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge all of my beautiful elders, both past and present. In my language, we say, Yama, Yowe, Nyenda Garigal Dara Gabanyamba, Garigal Eora, Yowe. Nayaganya Gomaroy, Nayaganya Waka Waka Gabanya. Tabi Ebrai, Yowe. Thank you very much. That's an example of my grandmother's language. Now, I'd like to leave on parting with a few words from my grandfather's language. Well, actually, my great-grandfather's language. Would you like to hear it? It's a very ancient language, and I've been to the beautiful country about 3 times. And it sounds something like, Buongiorno, Como stai? And ciao. Thank you very much. Your way.
Please welcome your host for this evening, respected journalist, presenter, travel writer and long-time supporter of the Ethnic Business Awards, Miss Tracy Spicer.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that lovely welcome. I am, as always, delighted to be here to share with you an evening that's fast becoming an institution, both a landmark and a signpost in the Australian business landscape. Our thanks to the Gadigal people, the traditional owners of the land, for their generosity in embracing this event, and to Gumaroy Newman for that wonderful welcome to country. That was one of the most passionate welcome to countries I've ever seen, talking about the language and the history of our Indigenous people. So thank you, Gumaroy. It's already shaping up to be a spectacular celebration of multiculturalism, and we've barely begun. I'd like to greet the many dignitaries here tonight. A warm welcome to the Prime Minister, the Honourable Julia Gillard, and the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Tony Abbott. Welcome to you and to all of our distinguished guests and award finalists. It's tremendous to see you all here beside the bay at Sydney's beautiful Montage for the 2012 Ethnic Business Awards. We have some special treats in store tonight as we herald the achievements of our finalists, the last remaining 12 from more than 500 nominations that flooded in from all over Australia. As Joseph Asaf, the founder of these awards, says in his book, the beauty of the human race is derived from the diversity of its cultures, just like the beauty of a rainbow is derived from the diversity of its colours. And this year's nominees were indeed a veritable rainbow of cultures, ethnicities, religions and personal circumstance. They were comprised of a mixture of refugees, business migrants, family reunions and sponsored migrants. As you'll soon see, they've all come to Australia with hopes and dreams to pursue, obstacles to overcome and challenges to be met. As Joseph has also said, with the benefit of his own experience, of course, if you know Joseph's story, when your suitcase is empty, there's plenty of room for dreams. The dreams and stories of our finalists are just a few among many, and all of them in their way are equally inspiring. For 3 years now, since the inception of the Indigenous Business Award, These migrant stories have stood alongside those of our Indigenous nominees, all of whom have had their own very different difficulties to overcome, their challenges very different, but their hopes and aspirations are very much the same: to succeed, to lead by example, and to make a genuine contribution not only to Indigenous Australia, but to the economy and society as a whole. The achievements of our finalists have been measured with these very factors in mind. That's probably part of the reason why the Ethnic Business Awards have continued to flourish for almost a quarter of a century. Can you believe that? The 24th Ethnic Business Awards. I think that deserves a round of applause. We'll be bringing you some fascinating speakers along with brilliant international entertainment as we send the awards message to Australia and the world through our broadcast partners. They include SBS, which has been broadcasting these awards since their inception, the Australia Network, the Aurora Community Channel, the National Indigenous Television Network and TVBA. We also have representatives here tonight from all of our media partners, including El Telegraph, Indian Link, Top Korean Weekly, the 1688 Chinese newspaper group, Singtao, Chujung, Neos Cosmos and Black Biz. The generosity of such sponsors ensures the continued success of these awards is shared with a huge audience. But of course, we wouldn't be here without our other sponsors, particularly the founding partner, the National Australia Bank, which has been a major sponsor for all of those 24 years. We also thank the Department of Immigration and Citizenship, Hill & Knowlton, Astra Limousines, eWeb Marketing for their continued support. It's always a pleasure to welcome and thank new sponsors as well. The Diversity Council of Australia is a perfect fit into the Ethnic Business Awards family. We also welcome on board China Southern Airlines, the Department of Industry, Innovation, Science, Research and Tertiary Education, the Shangri-La Hotel Sydney and the Navara Group. A big thanks to all of our sponsors. And now, before a bit more entertainment and more formal proceedings, a short break. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage Tracy Spicer.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Now, many people have donated their time and energy to ensure the success of this evening, not least among them our panel of judges who came up with our 12 finalists tonight. 4 in the small business category, 4 in the medium to large business category, and 4 in the Indigenous business group. Every year our judges do a remarkable job making what must be almost impossible decisions in choosing the best of the best because, as you'll soon see, all of these people are winners. Our judges, fortunately, are well qualified to make the final determination because they too are all winners in their chosen fields. I'd like to introduce them to you, but first a few words from one of our judging mainstays who unfortunately is unable to be here with us tonight, Mr. Don Argus.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies for my non-attendance tonight. I'm sure I'm going to miss a great evening. It's also great to see our Prime Minister, Ms Julia Gillard, there tonight, along with the Leader of the Opposition, Tony Abbott. I'm sure they'll add to the excitement of the room, and it'll be a fabulous evening. For those winners, congratulations on your success. I'm sure the common theme that comes through in all of these presentations is perseverance and dedication, and that was certainly evident in the various applications that I saw. For the losers, it's also a great night for you. I think your contribution makes this sort of an evening, and it's quite uplifting actually to see the quality of the initiatives undertaken by the various business sectors under the Ethnic Business Awards. Well done to everyone and have a great night.
Don Argus there, ladies and gentlemen. Don is a Companion of the Order of Australia and a recipient of the Centenary Medal for Service to Australian Society through Business. Philanthropist, conservationist and former CEO and Managing Director of the National Australia Bank, as he mentioned. He's also a former chairman of BHP Billiton, a leader in the mining and finance industries, and a terrific supporter of Australian communities through his executive roles in conservation, health and charitable and sporting organisations. Our thanks to Don. Also, unfortunately unable to be here tonight is Mr Alan Gyngell. An officer of the Order of Australia, Alan is the Director-General of the Office of National Assessments. He has a wide background in international policy making and analysis, has written and spoken extensively on Australian foreign policy, Asian relations and the development of global and regional institutions. Alan was the founding director of the Lowy Institute for International Policy and has made a huge contribution to the development of public and governmental debate on foreign and security policy. He's a long-time supporter of these awards, so please thank Alan Gyngell. Another powerhouse in the world of business is professional director and business consultant Eve Crestani. Eve specialises in strategic project management and business solution implementation. She's chairman of Mercer Superannuation Australia and a director of Australian Unity and Zurich Australia. She's a member of the ASX Disciplinary Tribunal, founding fellow of the Australian Institute of Company Directors and an emeritus trustee for the Committee for the Economic Development of Australia. She consults to large Australian and international organisations, currently working with KPMG on its strategic property portfolio. No one knows where Eve finds the time to judge the Ethnic Business Awards, but she does, and it's her 12th year. So thank you so much, Eve. Appointed an Officer of the Order of Australia for his committed service to Indigenous communities is Mr Joseph Ellew. Joseph is the current chairman of the Cape York Resource Management Board, a board member on the Torres Strait Regional Authority and Indigenous Community Volunteers. He's chairman of CCA Enterprise Proprietary Limited and brings a tremendous knowledge and expertise to all the judging categories, in particular the Indigenous area of the awards. Joining the EBA family 2 years ago, he's been an invaluable addition to our judging panel, and he has a tremendous sense of humour if you want to have a chat with him later this evening. Joseph, thank you for your work. And finally, a member of the EBA judging panel right from the beginning, the lady who so generously provides me with the most beautiful dresses every year, the incomparable Gala Zampatti. A Companion of the Order of Australia, Carla is also a Commendatore in the Order of Merit in the Italian Republic. Carla has at various times been named Bulletin Qantas Businesswoman of the Year and Designer of the Year, an icon in the fashion industry and retailing and an inveterate contributor to multicultural broadcasting. She's widely recognised as a role model and mentor for women right throughout Australia. Gala Zampatti, for both your dress and your dedication to these awards, a very big thank you. Our 5 judges, ladies and gentlemen, when the nominations continue to be so wide-ranging and of such a high calibre, theirs is not an easy task. There is also, I'm sure, quite a lot of emotion involved in the process. Many of these stories, as you'll soon see, are incredibly moving. In fact, one of the main difficulties our judges have is to find a balance between the actual business success of an enterprise and the personal story behind it. In the end, though, these are business awards and business success is the main criterion. But you know, for me and for a lot of people in this room and watching tonight, the stories are the most moving and exciting aspects of the nominations. We'll be looking at both those successes and those stories soon. In the meantime, put your hands together for those hard-working judges. It's an impossible task. By the end of tonight, the Ethnic Business Awards will, over its 24 years, have handed out 74 of these beautiful trophies behind me. And Prime Minister Julia Gillard will have joined an illustrious list of people to have graced its stage. Let's take a look at some of them.
those of you who are here tonight as finalists in these Ethnic Business Awards, it is a great thing that you are here. You are our automatic bridge to the world, and so much that we do in commerce, in export, in import, in trade and investment, and what is now the worldwide economy transacted digitally. You form such natural, wonderful, diverse, fluent, culturally sensitive human bridges to the rest of the world that you are for us an enormous national strength and one to be celebrated.
As Australians, we pride ourselves on our ethnic diversity, our innovation, our entrepreneurship, and of course, excellence. And it's these very qualities that are celebrated tonight through the Ethnic Business Awards.
We're taking the chance to highlight the tremendous achievements and efforts of some Australians who've come to this country, have not started with the natural advantage of knowing it, and have done things that are special, which we can all identify with and which we can all celebrate. And that's really, I think, what the Ethnic Business Awards are about.
Diversity creates unity. That unity, born of diversity, creates opportunity. Multiculturalism is Australia's competitive advantage in the global marketplace.
The Ethnic Business Awards, coming of age tonight, have long been a feature of our splendid multicultural landscape. They pay tribute to the extraordinary achievement and contribution of people born on shores other than our own. They are a yearly reminder of our rich diversity.
It's not possible to think of the economic growth of Australia over the last 30 or 40 years without thinking of the massive contribution that have been made by the group loosely called Ethnic Australians to the development of our country.
It's quite some lineup, isn't it? When Joseph Asif arrived in Australia, literally in someone else's shoes, opened his own empty suitcase and began to put together this particular dream, I bet he never imagined it could be quite so successful. Or perhaps he did, because Joseph is one of those people who sees no barriers between imagining success and grabbing it with both hands. It's my great pleasure to introduce to you the founder, chairman, and a major sponsor of the Ethnic Business Awards, the leader of a dedicated team which puts this together every year, himself an immigrant from Lebanon, a business achiever and published author, champion of multiculturalism in Australia, a man who's dubbed every migrant a mini economic stimulus package. Isn't that a terrific quote? Please welcome to the stage my friend, Mr. Joseph Asif.
Thank you, Tracy. You are so kind and a great host of these awards. Good evening. And to the Prime Minister, Ms. Julia Gillard, the Leader of the Opposition, Sir Tony Abbott, heads and representatives of diplomatic missions represented here tonight, honourable members, senators, ministers, esteemed judges, valued sponsors, members of the media, guests, and of course our finalists tonight. To all of you, a very warm welcome. Yes, I am, as Tracy said, an immigrant. And yes, I do believe that an empty suitcase has more room for dreams. And yes, I have described every migrant as being a mini economic stimulus package. because migrants bring to their new home their own market requirements, their own needs, and their own ability to service those needs. So yes, I do believe that multiculturalism is alive and well in the business world here in Australia. All of our finalists tonight have faced a myriad of different challenges. They have had to build their own networks, find their own pathways to success, and then, with each success under their belts, plan and execute the next step and overcome the next challenge. Drawn from over 500 nominations, which came from all the states and territories and represented a huge diversity of businesses, races, cultural backgrounds, religions, and languages, these finalists, both Indigenous and migrants, collectively epitomize the notion that excellence is the child of diversity. I congratulate each and every one of them on their enterprise. Every nominee is a winner, but the biggest winner of all is Australia, which has been enriched by their contribution to our business soundscape, and what an increasingly rich soundscape it is becoming. Our land, it seems, abounds not only in nature's gifts, but in the gifts of many nations and cultures working in and for harmony. The business of supporting multiculturalism is very good business indeed, because multiculturalism is not a passing fancy. It's not a hobby. It's not a government policy or a nice thing to do or a marketing opportunity. Equally, diversity is not a choice. It's not an option or a public relations exercise or an employee relations program. In Australia, diversity is a fact of life, and multiculturalism is a way of life. Without diversity, there can be no harmony, because harmony is the coordination of differences, while monotony is the absence of differences. Our differences cannot be managed or productively harnessed without tolerance and the respect of a freedom, because in true harmony, every voice, every note, every color, every contribution has its place, and that place must be recognized. Diversity must include every culture and exclude none, which is why the contribution of the earliest migrants, the very first settlers, the Indigenous Australian, is now a part of this symphony. Without that well-conducted symphony of differences, we would have not harmony, but discord, or just as bad, monotony, and all the things that implies status, lack of inspiration, lack of growth, lack of excitement. Personally, I am all for the noisy, complicated, exciting symphony, where everything is included and nothing is left out. The principles of tolerance and freedom I mentioned also happen to be some of the fundamentals of democracy. They are the things that a true democracy aims for. At its best, it coordinates its differences, harnesses them for the greatest good, and enjoys and celebrates the outcomes. It's very encouraging then for me to see tonight two of our leading maestros living out this notion by example, sharing a table at this event, sharing in not just the celebration, but in food, conversation, the acknowledgement and acceptance of the common ground offered, this hospitality, and the need to set aside political differences in support of a shared ideal. Prime Minister, Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, Julia, Tony, welcome to my table. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome to my house of diversity. Next year, on our 25th anniversary, I believe we will be doing this at your house in the Parliament. And to celebrate that quarter-century milestone, we will be bringing back the top 12 finalists selected from the winners and finalists of all those years, and we will be choosing the champion of champions. Our celebration also happens to coincide with Canberra's centennial celebration, the beginning of another 100 years of democracy, and hopefully of harmony, of increasingly productive diversity, and more of the wonderful and inspiring stories like the ones you will hear tonight. Our finalists don't need me to wish them luck. They brought their own luck to the lucky country. Let us enjoy it together. Thank you and good evening. It is now my great pleasure to welcome to the stage our guest of honor, the Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable Ms. Julia Gillard.
Thank you very much. I start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, and in a spirit of reconciliation, paying my respects to elders past and present. Thank you to Mr. Newman for his welcome to country. Can I acknowledge as well two very special people. To Joseph, it's a pleasure to be at your table. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. I am going to look forward to welcoming you in Canberra next year. And in order to make that happen, I've needed over the table to negotiate the election date with Joseph. But I just want to remind, it's a secret, Joseph, so don't tell Tony at any stage of the night. Can I also acknowledge and honour Angela, a part of a powerful partnership. Thank you for all of your efforts.